trying to use more weed barrier this year, but one of the problems we've had is we do a lot of soil blocking, and it's often hard to like get the soil block into the hole nicely in weed barrier. So we're going to be cutting like little holes with butter knives, and then for our kale, and then our lettuce are in plugs, so they work pretty nicely into weed barrier.
So the soil blocks are difficult because they are bigger.
They're a little bigger, and they're not as like holding together as tightly, so they fall apart.
Okay.
And you kind of get them into the.
And the plugs are just like the size of a finger, easy to
Yeah, they're really small, so you can just drop them in. So we'll see how that goes.
These are the plugs.
Oh, right.
So they're pretty easy. So they just kind of drop in there, no problem. So this is more of what it looks like out of a soil block. So you can tell it's a little bit harder, not quite as together, but it seemed to work decent. So transplanting, often we're trying to do it in the afternoon, especially if it's sunny, but we're doing it in the morning today because it's cloudy and it's going to stay cloudy all day. So that should be a good day to transplant.
Right. And it's end of February. It's what, 40 or 35 to 40 degrees today.
So
Yep.
high. Yeah.
And we have about a week before it's supposed to fall below freezing again. So that's another thing. It's a good time. This is kale.
Kale.
We usually do kale in 2 rows,
18-inch.
12 inches apart,
12.
outside. So these are going to be a little bit tighter space. But we aren't planning to have these in here as long. We will convert this space to something else once we have our kale established in our outdoor garden. But it is slower transplanting into weed barrier. Takes longer, but you are saving time on weeding later. So I'm still trying to figure out.
Sorry.
Catherine.
Just dealing with feline problems over here.
So the time saved is on the weeding side when using transplanting into weed cloth versus open soil would be
It's a little
speedier
faster.
on the transplant side.
Like we could have transplanted lettuce and kale in here in January, but the chickens were in here, so we needed to create enough space between having raw manure on the garden to when we would be harvesting.
Right. So the original plan was actually to just have flowers in here,
Correct.
so we wouldn't even have to have that waiting period. We could have just put flowers in here.
Right. But we are audibling that just so to make sure we have some lettuce and kale in April.
Right.
And it's 90 days from raw manure to harvesting crops that are off the ground, and 120 days for things that are in the ground like root crops or things close to the ground like lettuce. So our 120 days will be around mid-April. Although having the weed barrier might put it at the 90-day point because you're not getting the soil up on the leaves.